everybody, welcome to At America TV. My name is Aninda, one of the guests here in At America. It's really nice to see you all. We hope you're all doing well and staying safe at home. For those of you just joined us for the first time, At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. We have moved temporarily to digital platforms so you can enjoy our events from the comfort of your own home. On this event, we'll be having Introduction to the GRE, Part 3 out of 6. But before we begin, let's break the ice with a little trivia. The question for today is, true or false, GRE test scores are valid for 2 years following the date the test was taken. I'll repeat once again. True or false, GRE test scores are valid for 2 years following the date of the test was taken. You can start typing your answer on our social media because in the end of the event, we'll do a live shoutout for those of you who can guess the answer correctly. Other than that, don't forget to take a selfie and tag At America's Instagram account. Without further ado, please welcome our today's speaker, Christine Suwendi, PhD candidate, English Language and Literature, Cornell University. Time is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you all? So this session is kind of different because we are going to be mainly speaking about the analytical writing section. So I do need everyone to try and access something you can type on, whether it's a laptop, piece of paper. So get that ready, okay? We are going to start with some review of the other sections of the GRE Verbal as a kind of warm-up before we start talking properly about the analytical writing. Okay, does that sound all right to everyone? So I'm gonna share screen. You can see my screen, right? Okay, so here's a quick review of what we have addressed so far in this shortened 3 weeks format of the GRE Verbal. The first week we had taken a look at academic analysis and close reading with the main thesis from me that as long as you can read closely, you will be able to attack the most difficult section of the verbal GRE, which is reading comprehension. Last week, we talked about trying to understand vocabulary, not from memorization alone, but in the context of the sentence that the vocabulary appears in. So we were speaking in essence, more about the fact that the GRE is more or less testing you not just on memorization, but on analytical skills, especially when it comes to analytical skills in close reading. So the main topic today, which is our last section, will be the writing section, and it's made up of the argument essay and the issue essay. For the purpose of today, we're going to mainly speak about the argument essay because it's easier to break down in this format where we're in Zoom and I cannot see you and we have not a lot of time, but we'll try to do our best. So as a warm-up, here is some, here is a question. There are maybe six exercises here that we'll go through together first. So I need your participation since it's 11:04, so I'm not interested alone. But if you guys talk, it'll be awesome. So first one, daily routine of responding to lobbies and exchanging polemics with the intransigent political opponents seem at odds with the president's what tendencies? So if we remember last week, we talked about the fact that understanding the plot of the sentence can really help you, especially in sentence equivalence exercises like this one, where you're supposed to pick 2 synonyms. If you try to fill in the blank with your own words, that could help. So let's do a poll as to what the 2 options would be for this particular sentence. Daily routine of responding to lobbies and exchanging polemics with intransigent political opponents seem at odds with the president's tendencies. What seems, I guess the first question would be, wait, how do I do this where I can see your chat? The first question would be, what would be the key part of this sentence that you would want to highlight? What would be the key part of this sentence that you think would be key to the meaning? I'm going to full screen this, so wait a second. Now we're looking at nothing but a black screen. Hold on. Bianca, intransigent. Intransigent would be the key part of the sentence. So intransigent refers to the political opponents. Okay, great. Any other guesses? This is so simple. There are no wrong answers. Odds. At odds. I think at odds with, right, Vishnu? So the plot of the sentence is that something that the president is doing daily is at odds with his general tendencies, correct? Something that he's doing daily is at odds with the president's something tendencies. So what is he doing daily? So daily he's he's arguing with his political opponents, and this is at odds with what kind of tendencies does he have? I would guess something like peaceful and calm, but there are no answers here, answer choices that would mean peaceful, right? So does anyone want to take a stab? President's what tendencies? Because I would look at the phrases at odds as well as what was it? At odds and exchanging polemics, right? So idealistic, aga, great one, arista, idealistic, and what would be the other word that is the closest synonym to idealistic? Great, aga, and arista. Okay, Quincy, you say quixotic, right? How did you know that? Maybe can we unmute Quincy if it's possible and ask how did you know that it would be quixotic as well as idealistic? Ah, you're the guy with no mic. Okay, explain by typing, I guess. Is it just through vocabulary knowledge or is it a guess? Quincy and quixotic also are close, right? Ah, because of Don Quixote, the character that the word is based on, whom is a very idealistic character. Exactly. So in this case, you knew the word quixotic, but what if you didn't? How would you arrive at the answer then? How would you arrive at the answer then? I guess you would be floating around altruistic, idealistic. You might not know what quixotic means. What about tenacious, contentious? Okay, tenacious and contentious are not synonyms, so they are out. What else? Tenacious and contentious are out. Tenacious would kind of be the odd word that doesn't have any synonym in the list, right? Nothing here means tenacious. What does tenacious mean, by the way? What is tenacious? Could anyone in the group maybe use tenacious in a sentence? Hello, Tian again. Altruistic is something beneficial, not possible. Why is it not possible? Tenacious is hardworking and persistent. Great. So it's not altruistic, says Tian, because it doesn't make sense. There is nothing here that talks about altruism, which is like being kind, etc. So it's not altruistic, it's not tenacious. Perhaps we do not know what dialectical means. So we have about 3 choices left, but we are looking for a positive valence word, right? Because the stupid thing that he's doing daily, which is arguing with his opponents, is at odds with something good about him, correct? That's the plot of the sentence. Daily he's arguing with intransigent political opponents, and this is at odds with some tendencies that he has, which is a good word, and therefore, since it's not going to be contentious, we don't know what dialectical means. Idealistic and quixotic would be great options. Dialectical, does anyone want to take a stab at the meaning of that word? Maybe Lydia A. Do you wanna what does dialectical mean? Do you wanna take a stab at that? If we can ask Santika, my co-host, my awesome co-host, to start putting people on the spot and unmuting them. Hi, Lydia.
Hi, hello. I was thinking that because intransigent sounds very, like hard, and that's why I choose dialectical, because probably in reality, daily he likes to, have dialogue. Probably that's how I come into my conclusion. This is an opposite, right? Because there is a phrase seemed at odds with the president's blank tendencies.
Right. That's interesting. That's a good way of arriving at the answer that you choose. So dialectical is kind of an odd word. It basically means the exercise of thinking or arguing in such a way that you are able to take your opponent's argument into consideration, right? Um, let's say instead of having a one-sided point of view about global warming, he was able to respond in a dialectical fashion to global warming deniers or something like that. So dialectical would mean when you are um, a fair-minded person who is in a discussion and can take the opposite point of view into account. Does it make sense in this case that the daily routine of responding to lobbies and blah 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 seem at odds with the president's dialectical tendencies? It wouldn't make sense because it's too close. You could even say that exchanging polemics is a form of being dialectical, except polemics is a negative valence word. Lydia, are you still unmuted? Would you like to take another guess? Hello, Lydia. Lydia is gone. Santika, can we unmute Lydia A? Oh, Lydia is still there, but you're muted. Oh, okay. You cannot unmute. Okay, that's fine. Then maybe we will go to somebody else for the second. But before that, can I ask anyone else to talk about this? Like maybe somebody else. Like is this Lydia? Hi.
No, I think I'm running out of guesses. I would like to listen to other people's opinions.
Okay, but you are Lydia, right?
Yes, true, Christine. Last time I checked, I'm still.
You're still Lydia. Last time you checked. That is so amazing that we get to see someone. Isn't everyone fascinated? Because usually we don't see anyone, we just hear their voices.
Yeah,
But see a person, not a bot, but a person. Thank you so much, Lydia. Okay, if I can have you stick around, can you explain again, like what is your personal strategy for attacking the sentence equivalence questions? So my strategy was to, understand the plot of the sentence, right? And the plot of the sentence for me is that the president is doing something daily that's not good, and it's in contrast with something about his personality that is good. So I know I'm looking for a positive valence word. But what about you, Lydia? Like, can you tell me a little bit about how you attack the sentence equivalence? Hello. We live in an age of Zoom. Sometimes you have technical difficulties. Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot, Lydia, but if you could explain a little bit about your own way of. Yeah, I think you're still muted. Still cannot unmute. Technical difficulty, guys. I think I can hear you now.
Yeah, it's okay. Sorry, Christine. I think only the host can unmute and mute people.
Oh,
It's the setting. I think from what I experienced, usually I try to make an educated guess, but this has to do deeply with my vocabulary stock. It's hard to make guesses when you do not understand the keywords inside the problem itself. In this case, I do not have any clue about what intransigent might mean, but because sometimes when words are matched with the prefix in, the in, if you have a word like in at the beginning of a word, probably it means the opposite of the transition. I don't know. I try to make guesses like that, and because there is a polemics here, it's probably something very hard, and people are disagreeing. I try to infer from that situation, and that's how I make my guesses, because I already know that tenacious doesn't make sense. I eliminate that, but I really think that it's really important to enrich our vocabulary Otherwise, I cannot make guesses, and I cannot make guesses in this problem, Christine.
Oh, I actually think that what you said was really awesome, though, Lydia, because I think what you said basically is a description of analyzing this sentence, right, in order to arrive at the answer. Not because you know all the vocabulary, but you started with polemics, and I think that's exactly it, right? Polemics is a key word in there. So if we can summarize the sentence, it's also saying that polemics are at odds with something else, correct? And if you knew what polemics means, then you would be able to arrive at the answer. Do you know what polemics means?
Polemics are things that people already disagreeing about. There are opposite opinions about this problem, about a situation, and usually people have strong opinions, either for or against.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be a start to understand this problem.
Would it be a positive word or a negative word, polemics?
I'm leaning more towards negative. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, great. So there is a kind of a difference between polemics and opinions, correct? In that maybe opinions would be something more personal, while polemics is like you are already in the battlefield of public opinion and you already know your position and you're kind of reciting your position almost in a robotic manner in order to, I don't know, align yourself with your political allies, etc. So you would have a set of polemics about gun control, global warming, etc. Okay? So
Yeah.
negative words. So therefore we are looking for positive words. You don't know what tenacious means. Idealistic, everybody knows that word, right? So maybe if you're idealistic, you would not have automatic politicized opinions like polemics. So that makes sense. And therefore we try to arrive at another word like idealistic. I think that was helpful, Lydia, to have had you share how you broke this down. Thank you so much. Sorry for putting you on the spot. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Christine, for the opportunity.
Okay, and then the next one, the exhibit is not so much a retrospective as a something. So it's not so much a retrospective as something else. Retrospective would be like a review of someone's work over a lifetime, I guess, right? Like we are seeing the Kurosawa retrospective at the cinema or something like that. So the artist's weaker early work is glossed over, and any evidence of his ultimate dissolution is absent entirely. So it's not a retrospective; it's the opposite. So it's not complete. It doesn't cover an entire lifetime. Something is glossed over. That's negative, correct? Like if I glossed over your flaws and simply focus on your positive traits, glossing over is not great. Evidence of his ultimate dissolution is absent entirely. What is the second part of the sentence saying? Something like the exhibit was not objective, correct? So if the exhibit is not objective, what is it? Is it something that features the artist's work as great or as negative? What is the plot of the sentence? The exhibit is not so much a retrospective. If we are not a pretentious artsy person, we probably don't know what retrospective really means, right? So the exhibit is not so much A as B. So the exhibit is not so much A but B, and B is what? B, the actuality of this exhibit is that they glossed over his early works. They don't really address his later dissolution. Dissolution, is it a good positive valence word or negative valence word? Dissolution, obviously negative, correct? The exhibit was curated to feature specific moments that highlight the interesting parts of their work. Yeah. Dissolution is negative word. So the exhibit is not objective, but that's what we know about the sentence so far, right? But if it's not objective, is it being too positive on the artist or negative? Because his earlier work is glossed over. It's too positive. Great. So then we are looking for words in these options that would mean something like praise, correct? Like overly praising someone, being unobjective and seeing someone's good points and not seeing someone's negative points. And which of these words would you think would be totally wrong and the outlier and not something that you should consider crescendo. It doesn't make any sense, right? Crescendo, it's like when music, I guess, increases maybe in volume. Crescendo is out. Panacea is out. Remove tirade. Why? Philippic. I actually don't know what that means, and I think it's fine. In our entire lifetime, we would very seldom see the word Philippic, but what does it mean? Can someone do a dictionary check of the second word? What does Philippic mean? Since I can't move away from the screen. Synonym to tirade? Oh, really, Vishnu? So Philippic is a synonym of tirade? Can you read the dictionary meaning of Philippic? I guess it would come something like from the word Philip, right? But what is the history of the word? Why does it mean bitter?
Oh, unmuted. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I know. First, I know what the meaning of tirade is.
Yeah.
About negative word, verbally negative word, and then I didn't know the rest of the words, so it made me confused. But I know that the word that we're looking for is positive one because I know it not so much retrospective as the and the rest the explanation explain the negative things about the exhibition. So I think I cannot guess the meaning, so I try to look for the meaning of all the words online, and I pick Payan and eulogy.
Okay, good. Okay, I think that's really good. Eulogy is your guess here, right?
Yeah.
So Philippic actually means not eulogy, right? It seems like Philippic, because there are differing opinions here, but Philippic probably means something more like tirade, correct? Like someone, correct? Because I guess the reason it is the word Philippic is because somebody speeches against somebody else. Okay, so Philippic is tirade. But if we don't know this, can we venture to guess that the very difficult word that nobody knows is probably not one of the answer options? Could we go with that? Because there are some words here that you would have seen before, but you don't really know what they mean, right? But then there are words that you would never have seen before, correct? And those, in my opinion, are usually not the answer. So if there's a word that you have never seen before, like Philippic, really like we've never seen it before, don't consider it, okay? And then crescendo is obviously out. So Vishnu, you said eulogy, and that's totally right. So what's another word that is close to eulogy?
Yes. I confused with Payan and Panake, but I know Panake is like not related with the sentence. It's about a cure maybe. And then Philippic, I don't know, so I confused between the two words, Payan and Philippics. At the end.
Payan and
Philippics, yep.
So because we say if the word is never used, it's never, not never, but often not the right answer. So Payan would be like a good one, I guess.
Sometimes I cannot understand what Jerry grassroots. For tirade, I know tyranny is negative thing, so I already know the meaning of it. But for Payan and Philippic, I cannot guess what the root of two words. Sometimes I confuse about that.
Okay, Panacea is kind of like what is the definition?
Okay, maybe like cure.
Very good. Cure, but in the sense of calming something down, not just cure. Panacea for. Okay, cure, I guess is a good enough synonym. So not eulogy, not crescendo, not panacea, not tirade. A tirade against someone, or like she made a tirade against Zoom meetings or something like that. Like it's not direct, it's not immediate tirade, it's like ranting against something. So Philippic, we don't know what it means. I mean, people have defined it, but before that we didn't. So it's paean and eulogy, right?
Yep.
By the way, Ricky Ikwan had asked what is the relationship between the sentence before and after the semicolon, because we see the semicolon here, right? Excellent question. Oh, sorry, I can never highlight. I forget that. Do you know the semicolon, right? It's here. I also really noticed that this punctuation is never used in Indonesian. Is that correct? Or do you use the semicolon in Indonesian, in Bahasa? Just out of curiosity. No. Okay,
No.
already. Sorry, why we were talking about the semicolon. We don't use it. Okay, we rarely use it. It basically functions exactly like a full stop, like a period. Okay. So when do you use a period? You use a period when you have a complete sentence, right? That can stand on its own. Complete sentence meaning an independent clause with a subject, verb, noun kind of thing. Then it can be a complete sentence, correct? Grammatically, you cannot say a sentence like running to the wind. Can you say that? Running to the wind, is that a complete sentence? No, but if we say Wisnu is running to the wind, that is a complete sentence, correct? Because there is a subject, Wisnu, doing something, running to the wind, and then when you have a complete sentence, you can use a semicolon or a period, because they can stand alone. They're a full sentence, right? So in this case, whenever you see a semicolon, you just treat it as a period, as a full stop. And you'll see that it works because we can break this into two sentences. The exhibit is not so much a retrospective as a paean, full stop. The artist's weaker work is glossed over, and any evidence of his ultimate dissolution is absent entirely. Full stop, again, can be two sentences. I hope that answers you, Ricky Ikwan. Okay, cool. All right, moving on to our second favorite, aside from the RC. We'll give Wisnu a break. Thank you so much for letting us see you, by the way. This is more exciting for all of us. Otherwise, people think they're bots, you know. They're not real people talking in the Zoom. American system of government is wonderfully responsive to crisis, but seemingly something to perennial troubles, something along with something solutions to something problems. So the plot of the sentence is that the government is really responsive to crisis, but in other ways they are not responsive to crisis, correct? And maybe we can ask Zakiatul Anissa to be unmuted and to help us with this. In my opinion, even though there are 3 blanks here, this is extremely easy. 134 is very easy. So Zakiatul.
Okay, thank you, Christian, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Zakiatul.
The American system of government is wonderfully responsive to crisis, but seemingly blank to perennial troubles, limping along with blank solutions to blank problems. I think I could guess it from the tone. The third blank is chronic problems.
Great. How do you know that? Because it's perennial troubles.
Blank.
And the would be like fad, right? Have you ever heard of the word fad? Like it's just a passing fad.
Not yet until today, actually.
Okay. Fad, okay. What about make or shift? Do you know what it means to shift something?
Yeah, I think I can reason the makeshift word.
Great. What is your reasoning as to what makeshift could mean?
To switch it to the other side or make a shift, literally.
Shift, nice. Make a shift. Make a shift. Make a shift. Does that sound like a word with like very permanent, long-lasting effects, or does the word sound more like a temporary sort of solution? Makeshift.
It's more like a temporary one.
Excellent. So, what about tendentious?
Tendentious is like something more intended.
Very good. Something more intended. Kind of close. Like when somebody is arguing and they're taking a very long time explaining their position, They are being tendentious.
Mm-hmm.
So not faddish, we don't know the word. Tendentious doesn't sound like it. Makeshift, you say, sounds like something temporary. So therefore makeshift, right? Because
Yeah, it is it's makeshift.
because there is also a relation between makeshift and chronic, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Because you say that makeshift sounds like something temporary, and you already guessed chronic problems, correct? Great, great, awesome. So that's actually right. Indifferent, makeshift, and chronic. Also, by the way, Zakiatul, you already said it's chronic problems, which is really, really good. As we see in the sentence, the clue for that is in the phrase perennial troubles, correct? So we wanted something here that means perennial troubles because the government is seemingly whatever to perennial troubles, limping along with whatever solutions to whatever problems. So we know there is a kind of echo between whatever problems and perennial troubles. So we are basically looking in the third blank for a synonym of perennial, correct? Okay. The last one. Even thrill-seeking visitors to amusement parks will avoid those attractions with a reputation for real something, like those at the now shuttered Action Park. These patrons want not danger, but it's something. A ride that something, but is in fact perfectly safe. Rainy, Rainy M. Rainy M. I think she said good morning to us earlier, but I'm not sure. Can we unmute Rini? Santika, thank you so much. Thanks so much, Santika, thank you for being there. Riani is unmuted. Hi, Riani, good morning. Rini, hi, good morning. Hello, Rini. I think, okay, that's fine. I'm so sorry, Rini. You are not ready yet. Let's call on somebody else. Let's call on Ricky Ikwan. If Ricky Ikwan is ready.
Hello, Christine.
Hello. How are you?
Okay, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Okay, so I have to read
Yeah.
this question. Okay.
And
Even thrill-seeking visitors to amusement parks will avoid those attractions with a reputation for real blah blah blah, like those at the now shuttered action park. These patrons want not danger, but it's blah blah blah, a ride that blah blah blah, but it is in fact perfectly safe. Okay, I think the answers to this question is for real, simulacrum, and terrifies.
Great. Awesome. That's very fast. Because it was easy, right?
Pretty familiar words.
Yeah. A lot of familiar words. But Yusuf MF had asked, maybe you can stay around Ricky to answer. Yusuf, he had asked, what are some tips if we don't know the definition of every option? My tip for earlier, I guess I had a tip, right, for the previous question. I think it was with Zakiatu, maybe. The tip was you do know the words. You might think that you don't, but I would say it's very important to attack these questions with a confidence that you actually know the words more than you think you do. Maybe not the word in this form, but some root, its root, or like some version of that word, okay? Like a better. I think it sounds like a word we don't know, but it's actually, if you look at any GRE flashcards, a bet is always in A, and we do know what a bet means. So a better would be the person who does that thing. That is abetting, encouraging someone in wrongdoing, etc. So Ricky, do you have any tips for Yusuf? What if we don't know the words? What would we do?
I'm memorizing some flashcards, and of course, and then maybe just make some educated guesses.
Right.
Yeah, like simulacrum. I don't know exactly what the meaning of this word, but I think it's kind of like simulation, like that.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
So you do know the word even if you don't know the word in that form, correct?
Yeah.
I guess don't be intimidated by vocabulary. Kind of like treat it as like something you can take apart. A word is something you can take apart. So even if you don't know, even if it seems like you don't know the word faddish, for instance, probably you've heard of the word fad. What educated guess. The other trick, of course, is that once you do have one blank answered, like she did in the person who answered the previous question, once you have one blank answered, the rest usually comes to light, correct?
Yeah.
At America C3. Okay, let's move on because we want to get to the main section. Shall we? Maybe before, let's do a quick RC before we talk about writing. And maybe we can put someone on the spot to read this since it's pretty long. Santika, I'll let you pick really. Can we have someone unmuted and help us read? Thank you so much, Santika.
Let's see.
Adinda, are you ready?
Yes, I'm pink and I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay. So Henry Matisse, the odd head, represents the artist's exuberant display of his new mastery of a technique once peculiar to Picasso. Matisse has learned to artfully separate color and drawing. The painting depicts a head and a shoulders, a bout of red flowers in a dark blue vase sitting upon a bench. A framed drawing of a woman's head and an unframed painting or drawing, also of a woman. But what's most striking about the painting is the way Matisse has begun to allow his colors and his forms to play freely, even while they are coordinated. The arch of the head runs out of past the form. Bits of blue from the bench appear in the man's neckline or along his shoulders. The colors of the various frames and surfaces of the drawing on the wall overlap and refuse to be constant by definite lines of form. Although this technique is not given the kind of tree range Picasso allowed in its Cubist period or in works such as Minotaur. But it is still a stunning development for Matisse, and he seems aware of this fact. The painting's compositions references Picasso's still life work Ancient Head from 1925, signaling Matisse's awareness that he's borrowing from his younger colleagues. Man, how helpful.
Hello, Tian. It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for reading. So, for some reason we had a mystery where Tian became Adinda. We don't know why, but it's okay. Right, Santika. So the thing is that you will come across passages like this where it's very difficult to pay attention because it will talk about things that you don't understand and you don't care about and you don't have a lot of time, right? So in this case, please remember that it's very important. Sorry, we have some echo. We have like a sound that. What is that sound, Santika? That sounds like a machine. Okay. Anyway, so it's very important to map the passage and to kind of understand. Okay, you have more or less two paragraphs here. The first paragraph discusses the general overview of what they're going to talk about. The second paragraph deep dives into details, and then there are a couple of places in the text that seems to offer important information that we should probably note. Just get used to reading fast about topics that you don't understand and be confident about about breaking it down, right? So in this case, we know we're talking about Matisse. We know we're talking about a certain technique. We know this technique has something to do with Picasso. In the last sentence of the passage, we know that Matisse is aware that he is borrowing from his younger colleague. Who is that younger colleague? Picasso. And then in the middle, we know it says blah, blah, blah about the way he paints, okay? Right? So break it down quickly. Be confident that you can understand things. The thing for me, again, that's very useful is I spend so much time trying to understand the opening of a passage and orienting myself. And then once I understand 2 sentences, I basically skim through the rest, look for conjunctions like transition words like but, however, nevertheless, and then I look at those sentences like this one. But what is most striking? This is line 3. What is most striking about the painting is the way Matisse has begun to allow his colors and his forms to play freely. Okay, I don't know what it means, but there is a but, so I know that. Where is there another transition word or something? Although in line 7, this technique is not given the kind of free rein Picasso allows it in his Cubist period. Okay, so the way Matisse uses this technique is not as free as the way Picasso used it. That's all I need to know. The rest are details. Quickly go to the questions, right? 40. Author uses the word peculiar to mean which of the following? This is a question about vocabulary in context and action, right? So the word peculiar is at the top. The ochre head represents the artist's display of his new mastery of a technique once peculiar to Picasso. Very good. It means unique. The main idea of the passage is to. The main idea of the passage is to. Is the answer. The main idea of the passage is to do what? Describe an artistic work and its inspiration. Describe how Matisse surpassed Picasso. Describe how Matisse developed his style. Describe a representative example of Matisse's work. Describe the influence of Picasso on the art world. It would be between A and C. Everybody says C, somebody says A. Okay, at least we agree that it's between A and C, right? A would be describe an artistic work and its inspiration. Okay, so it says artistic work. That's interesting. Is the passage talking more about the ochre head or talking more about Matisse? It's talking more about the ochre head than Matisse, correct? While C, it says describe how Matisse developed his style. Okay, but we only know about how Matisse's style mimic Picasso in the ochre head rather than about how Matisse in general developed his style, correct? So it would be A much more so than C because it's way more about the ochre head than it is about Matisse. Do we agree? So A, okay, great. Okay, last one, we agree. Thank you, Muhammad Risyadani. According to the passage, all of the following are true of the ochre head except the artist did not color between the lines. You know, like this kind of question, it irritates me because I was trying to read fast because I told you don't have a lot of time. So read fast, map the passage, know the main points, and then know where there are interruptive opinions from the writer with although, but, however, etc. But then you get this kind of question, and this does require you to go back to the passage and read for details, so it sucks. All of the following are true except artist did not color between the lines. I don't know, I can't remember that. Arrangement is similar to that of a piece by Picasso. Maybe, yeah. Considered among the best of Matisse's work, don't know. Did they say that? Colors are more constrained than those of the Minotaur. Yeah, maybe, I think so. Depicts household objects, not sure. So all of the following are true except for what? Ruliawan Ediwasito, let's have you unmuted. Ruliawan Ediwasito, can we unmute him? Santika, tell me why C. Hello. Hi, Ruliawan.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Again, Christian. I'm considering the C because like the passage didn't tell us about the best of Matisse works. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Can you tell me, because you answered so quickly, what alerted you to the fact that it was C? Because you answered really fast, right? Because does it sound a bit labai? Like,
Yeah.
were you kind of thinking that there isn't such an absolute opinion in the text?
Mm,
Um, hmm. Okay, so what about if we go? You think it's the third one, right? It is considered among the best of Matisse's work. I think that's a really good guess, really a
yeah.
one.
I
But
guess, but I'm trying to eliminate. I think like the E depicts household objects, but the passage told us about a bench,
hmm,
and the answer D is told about the contrast, and they say about the contrast color in the passage. So it's correct and E correct, A and B correct. So I guess C because the passage didn't tell anything about the greatest work of Matisse. Only tell about the work of Gre.
yeah. Any okay, what about the first
I guess.
what about the first one, really a one? The artist did not color between the lines.
The lines. Mm,
And then we look for the word color, right? And we find it in line 6.
yeah, they told about the line. Yeah.
Okay, look at line 6.
Oh, yeah.
The colors of the various frames and surfaces overlap and refuse.
Overlap.
Yeah. So, did not color between the lines. The colors overlap. Looks like A.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Interesting. So, even though we are told that there is a GRE verbal hack, which is, I think you remember something so important, Rulia One. Thank you.
Yeah.
The hack is,
Okay.
I think the hack is, the answer is never in something that has no evidence in the text, correct, Rulia One?
Yeah.
Remembering that the reason that Rulia One thinks C is the answer is because I think Rulia One is recalling we say the answer is never an opinion that has no direct evidence in the text. So Rulia One therefore thinks considered among the best of Matisse's work doesn't seem to have evidence in the text, and then furthermore, it also sounds kind of labai, and I keep telling you if it's labai, it's never the right answer, correct? So those are some hacks, but in this case, it seems the answer is A, and the answer calls for a pretty careful reading about details in the text itself, correct? So why is it not C? I guess because of the first sentence, the artist's exuberant display of his new mastery. So
Okay.
it's kind of like, oh, he mastered something and he's displaying his mastery. So it's kind of, it could be the case that this was his, what do you call it? One of his best works.
Yeah. Best. Yeah, one of the best works.
Yeah. Okay, will do. Does Santika have emails for people? Because if Santika has everyone's emails, Rini, then what I can do, since it's our last session, is to send the PDF with the answers to you guys to maybe Santika can circulate. Thank you so much, Ruliawan. But at least Ruliawan, despite being wrong, reminded us of a couple of hacks that did not help us in this case, which is
Yeah.
if it's labai, it's not the answer. And second, don't choose something that has no direct evidence in the text, correct?
Correct. Yeah. At least I'm trying.
Yes, and I think you didn't just try, but you tried in a very intelligent way. Thank you, Ruliawan. Maybe Dea Bermatalia can read the term free rider originates from the idea of blah blah blah. Dea Bermatalia. So this is another kind of RC passage. It's very short, usually only one type of question, and usually you're asked to indicate all that apply. A quick reminder, read the instructions because not everything has the same format. Like in this case, you're not being asked to pick one answer. So I guess we cannot unmute Dea Permatalia, right, Santika? She is still muted. Oh no, we have more technical difficulties. Dea. Hi, hello, you're here.
Well,
Santika.
the rider originates from the idea of someone who rides public transportation without paying the fare. The free rider problem is what results when too many people do this. The transit system will go bankrupt. More broadly, the free rider is someone who uses or enjoys the benefits of something without paying or takes more than his or her share of a public good. Free riders can cause others to curtail their own contributions, not wanting to be taken advantage of. In some cases, the free rider problem is viewed as a necessary cost of government. When citizens pay for national defense or environmental protection, everyone benefits, even those who evade paying taxes.
Thank you so much, Dea. Don't be muted yet. Stay around. Okay, so now that we have read it, we know that in a way the passage is talking about people who take advantage of the system, correct? And that the last sentence is very interesting because it says that the government usually think that some people will just take advantage of the system, and it's not. It's inevitable, right? So let's, Dea, if I can ask you to stay on unmuted, stay online and unmuted. Which of the following examples matches the definition of a free rider problem as described in the passage? Remember, it's not asking for the definition of a free rider, but a free rider problem. So,
okay, maybe I have to repeat the sentence once more. The free rider problem is what results when too many people do this such thing, like transit system will go bankrupt. Okay, the problem will.
Hello, hi there. Yeah, good. So you referred back to the phrase free rider problem. It's when too many people ride public transportation without paying, and then the second time it appears again in line 6. The free rider problem is viewed as a necessary cause of government, correct? So which of the following matches the definition?
Let's get, wait.
Yeah.
I guess it's C, I guess, a yearly school big sale based. Sorry.
Is it C? Has
Maybe.
the closest relevance? Everybody thinks it's C, correct?
The A is talking about people can travel effortlessly, so I eliminate that. And then the second, a senior citizen pay spaceless. It's the two option is talking about advantage, right? So the last one is talking about what we lose. Yearly school big sale based on the honor system is suspended when too many people take food without paying. Yeah.
Right. So we agree it's C. I think everybody agrees that it's C. Even Salman, Agus, everybody agrees it's C. Okay, great. So pretty simple. Now let's leave this, and Dea, thank you so much, Dea.
Yeah.
And let's move on to writing, right? So I wanted to posit that the thesis that writing is totally linked to reading as long as you know how to read, which is what we've been doing. For 2.5 weeks, we have basically been trying to practice reading closely together to whatever extent of success. So I think writing well calls you to do exactly the same thing. So there are two sections of the analytical writing portion of the GRE, and that's the issue essay and the argument essay. The issue essay is incredibly difficult to teach, especially in 1 hour or in 2 hours. So there are so many resources, though, on the issue essay that you can take a look at. The argument essay is incredibly easy to teach, and we can probably do so in 15 minutes. But before we take a look at those two parts of the analytical writing section, I would like someone to volunteer, someone brave, to introduce themselves for 30 seconds. So I guess I don't have a timer, but I do have a timer. Can I ask a volunteer? Maybe, hopefully, a volunteer with video, and then they can introduce themselves for 30 seconds. You can just say, who are you, and so on. Any volunteers? Otherwise, Santika is going to pick. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Santika. Can we have a volunteer? Oh, no, people are shy about themselves, but they're not shy about answering questions about the GRE verbal. Who seems not shy, Santika, from what we have seen so far? Okay, Santika is going to pick the victim. Or Tian wants to. Okay, fine. Yeah, Tian, please, with video, introduce yourself in 30 seconds. Well, you're going to need to participate in this section, by the way, and this is the easiest. So Tian has spared himself from difficult things later down the road because he's volunteering for the easy thing. Oh, sorry, Tian, hang on.
But you also need to have the network. Karena beneran network it's really something that can help you. Kenapa Tiara tadi?
Tian, because Santika wanted to wanted to save you for a more difficult thing later down the road, so she unmuted Andrew Ebenezer, but Andrew seems like he's not ready yet. He's doing his multitasking. Adinda, how would you introduce yourself in 30 seconds? Because we're trying to make everyone talk, so. Adinda?
Okay.
Hello. Thank you so much, Tian. I will need your help later, so let's just.
Hi. Udah.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Bukan.
Udah betul. Hi, Adinda. Please introduce yourself in 30 seconds.
Okay. Hi, my name is Adinda Razadi. I am 21 years old, and I am currently a senior undergraduate student studying metallurgical materials engineering at the University of Indonesia. And I'm planning to apply to the PhD program in material science next fall at the University of Alabama.
Okay, awesome. Was that 30 seconds? Santika? I think more or less so. Let's break it down now. Let's stick with Adinda first. Did everyone hear her? She's studying material science at UE, correct? Yeah, I know.
Yes.
We totally need to like make Tian a volunteer because he's very helpful. Thank you so much, Tian, and thank you so much, Adinda. So what did she do? If we are listening to her, how did she introduce herself? Did she start out with like the most important information and then she gave us more details? And then what happens in the last sentence? What was the last sentence of what Adinda said? Maybe we can ask Lydia to answer us here. Lydia, what was Adinda's last point when she introduced herself? Lydia can be unmuted. Lydia? Oh, okay, Putri, very helpful. Okay, Lydia is unmuted. Does Lydia remember the last sentence that Adinda had said? Yeah, she plans to continue her study at the University of Alabama, correct? So if I'm gonna... Lydia, are you here? Hello? Hi, Lydia. Okay, never mind. We already have a response from Lydia Angayani. So Lydia is not yet here, but Lydia says that the last thing Adinda said was that she wants to study abroad. She wants to take her PhD at the University of Alabama in material science. So what we noticed is that she started by introducing herself, and then she gave us a bunch of details. And then the last thing is she tells us about a future plan, correct? Correct? Guys, introduce generally, who am I, right? Details, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then future plan, I'm going to do this next. What's interesting about this is that we do this all the time, right? Whenever in daily life, whenever we meet someone or at work, somebody says like, oh, you know what? Anwari just joined us in the HR department. Hi, Anwari, can you introduce yourself? And then you'll say blah, blah, blah. So you might be intimidated by writing, but what I'm trying to say is that you write all the time. You're already writing in daily life. You're organizing your thoughts and you're emphasizing certain points over others, the way that you heard Adinda, right? She was organizing her thoughts, so she knew exactly what she wanted to tell you about herself. And then picking a very central part of her 30 seconds speech, she told us about a significant point, which is that she's going to do grad school in Alabama later, right? So you're writing all the time. That's the point of this. And because you're writing all the time, try to not be intimidated by being asked to attack a topic in 30 minutes, right? I think more or less 30 minutes each is how much time you have for the essay. So the first thing, the issue essay is asking you to be the pretentious person at a cocktail party, and the argument essay is asking you to be like an investigative attorney or something like that, lawyer, right? So let's start with the issue essay, which I say is very difficult to relay in 1 hour or 2 hours. In the issue essay, you are being tested on your ability to communicate a position on an issue effectively and persuasively. Okay, now we go back, rewind to our first and second classes where we were thinking a lot about the specific style and expectations in academic writing. Do you remember? I'm really, really sure that you remember this because I keep repeating myself, right? Rulia one even had tried to practice this in responding to certain questions. So we say that the expectations in academic writing is that you will have a balanced point of view, correct? That is not too labai, that's not too absolute, that is almost basa-basi, that is kind of like juggling expert opinions in the field. Whatever field that you go into for grad school, whether you're going to do grad school in sociology or you're going to do grad school in petroleum engineering, at some point you will be asked to read something and respond. Like in petroleum engineering, you'll have to do a research on methods of whatever, oil drilling in Japan after 1973 or whatever. You'll have to read and you'll have to respond. Remember, in your response, you're communicating a position, but more importantly, you're not just communicating a position, but you're doing so effectively and persuasively. And by their standards, that means how? That means that your opinion does not sound like a 17-year-old answering the SAT, whatever essay topic. You cannot sound too absolutist. The point is to sound balanced, okay? So then it says, your basic task is to analyze the issue presented. Consider more than one perspective. That's what they mean. Be dialectical, right? Be dialectical. Take into account other opinions that may counter your own, and develop and support your position on the issue. Some keywords here, because we want to close read everything, including the prompts, is you got to analyze. You have to consider more than one perspective. You have to develop your position. What does it mean to develop your position? I wonder if someone can tell me what is their favorite food in Jakarta, because I myself, I'm having trouble picking things to eat daily. I kind of feel almost like there is nothing to eat. So can I have a volunteer? Maybe Lydia who is in Jakarta? Yeah. Oh yeah, because not everyone is in Jakarta. Sorry, Santika, I forgot that. Lydia, please Let's unmute Widya, and maybe Widya, you can tell me about your favorite food in Jakarta. This will help me order lunch as well after this. Hi, Widya.
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Oh,
So, what's your favorite food in Jakarta? Share with me. Hello. Hi, Widya.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Okay. Hi.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you to elaborate a little bit on your favorite food in Jakarta.
Yes, actually, I love nasi goreng kambing. In Kebon Siri, I love because big portion also, and the taste of goat meat is not really sting to my nose, so I like that.
That's so perfect. Thank you so much, Widya. I appreciate that. So it's nasi goreng kambing di Kebon Siri, correct? Okay, I'm gonna try and look for it later. Thank you. What did she do? She was developing and supporting her position on her favorite food in Jakarta, correct? What did she do? Widya started out by telling us what that food is. So she staked a position. Her favorite food is nasi goreng kambing. Then she gave more details. Like if you hear her talk, you can imagine that it was a short paragraph, right? It started with a topic statement. My favorite food is nasi goreng kambing. And then she gave more details. It's in Kebon Siri. It's really good because the portion is quite big. And then she gave even more details. Why is it especially good? Because goat meat sometimes smell, but this one doesn't smell. So she was developing a position on an issue by first stating what the issue is. Again, I'm going back to my topic that you are writing all the time in daily life. You're organizing your thoughts and you're emphasizing certain points, but not others. So you're basically asked to do this, but in the form of, typing and responding to the issue essay. So now that we have heard people introduce themselves, people introduce their favorite food, let's deep dive a little bit. So the GRE issue essay is asking you to pick a side. Don't waffle, pick a side. Then you choose a few real world examples you can discuss. This one is very difficult. I saw some stupid websites where they have flashcards on high recurring GRE topics, and then they give you some examples, real world examples that you can cite. I don't know if that's a good way to go about it. Like that site had maybe the topic like technology and society, and then inside the flashcards they'll give you can discuss the Macintosh computer, you can discuss whatever else. Yusuf, excellent question. So real world examples, I think it's the stumbling block in the issue essay, because when you face an unfamiliar topic, you can have trouble finding real life examples to back up your position on that topic. Certificate of vaccine, yes, hot issue indeed. I wonder if it has made it into the GRE issue essay. Okay, so let me point out first that the second bullet point is usually the problem. The third, observe the one paragraph, 1 point rule. I don't know if it's a problem for you. It is the golden rule of writing, right? Like a lot of people think that writing or English or verbal section is very subjective, it's very difficult versus like the quant section or like versus petroleum engineering, which is more objective. It's not true. Language is like a machine and you take it apart. Any piece of language is like a piece of machinery, right? And especially in the GRE, everything is so schematic, and having a very rigid way of writing, it does help you. And one way to clarify your thought is to stick to this golden rule of having 1 point per paragraph. And then you have to do the automatic thing of seeming persuasive by not seeming absolutist. So you are going to address the opposing view a little bit in your conclusion. You write a few practice essays. But I'm still going back to Yusuf's question. Do we have any tip for writing an essay if we don't have any experience yet about the situation of the given topic? Does anyone want to volunteer to maybe respond to Yusuf? What do we do if we don't have experience about the topic? Maybe I think this answer is a little bit of a cop-out, Yusuf, so forgive me. But I think maybe it's the same thing that I've been saying for every single section, like don't assume you don't know words or that you don't know a certain vocabulary. Don't assume that you don't understand a certain reading comprehension passage. Even here, don't assume that you have no opinion, I guess, when you see a particular issue, essay, topic, prompt. So let's make let's actually go through a very typical prompt that may or may not help us respond to Yusuf. Here is the prompt. Some people believe that government regulation is needed in order to ensure the safety of consumer goods. Others believe that voluntary efforts of the producers of those goods suffice. Can I ask someone to translate this into Indonesian? Zakiatul? Zakiatul Anissa? Oh wait, I think you already were put on the spot earlier. So Karimia Sihombing, wanna help me translate this into Indonesian so that we can keep Yusuf's question in mind? What do we do when we are not familiar with the topic? Thanks, Karimia. Let's have you translate this. I think we need to unmute Karimia Sihombing.
Okay, hi Christine, hi all. Thank you for the opportunity. Okay, let me translate and sorry if it's wrong ya, but let me try. Some people believe that government regulation is needed in order to ensure the safety of consumer goods. Beberapa orang percaya bahwa regulasi pemerintah diperlukan. Start my video. Okay. I open my video. Okay. Sorry ya. I try again. Beberapa orang percaya bahwa regulasi pemerintah diperlukan untuk in order to ensure, untuk memastikan keamanan dari consumer good atau barang-barang consumer seperti mungkin seperti ini ya. Misalnya ini. Apa ini? Vaseline, hand body or anything consumer goods. Okay, while others believe that voluntary efforts of the producers of those goods suffice. Sementara yang lainnya percaya bahwa usaha dari si produser ataupun yang pemilik usaha ini diperlukan untuk memastikan bahwa ini aman gitu. Jadi bukan hanya regulasi dari pemerintah untuk menyatakan produk ini aman, mungkin BPOM ya, BPOM menyatakan ini harus ditesting dulu supaya aman. Tapi yang lain juga percaya bahwa dari si produsernya ataupun si yang memproduksi produk ini juga harus memastikan produk yang dijualnya aman. Kalau I think that's my translate for this.
That's amazing, Korean. I think you need a career change down the road. You can be a professional translator for the United Nations.
No, I just try.
That's so good. I'm so impressed. I agree with everything, by the way, except maybe we need a little more, whatever you call it, attention on the word suffice. As in, like, suffice means sudah cukup. Jadi seperti kayak ada punya orang pikir intervention dari kementerian itu diperlukan, tapi ada yang pikir udah cukup untuk yang bikin consumer goods itu yang memastikan the safety. Sorry, horrible.
Yes.
So do you know what I mean? So as in like, so some people think you need the government and some people think it's enough to push that responsibility into the
manufacturer.
Yeah, yep. Right. You did so good. Can you stay on for a second? Don't leave yet, especially because video is very good. Everybody is so sick for at America background, right? No offense, Antika, I'm just saying it's more interesting to see people's faces, right, in real life. Anyway, so if you stay for a second, we go back to Yusuf's question. How is there any tips if we don't have any experience yet about the situation of the given topic? And also I'm gonna address another question from somebody else, Zakiatul, who asked, is it possible to plan the essay ahead? Yes and no, Zakiatul. you can familiarize yourself with essay writing strategy. You are not going to know the exact prompt ahead of time. And Yusuf, what do you do if you don't have any given experience about the situation? Remember, the GRE Verbal is not testing you on memorizing flashcards or knowing a lot about consumer safety, about the safety of consumer goods. It's only testing you in your ability to think and analyze critically. Think, analyze, and read critically. That's all it's testing you on. So maybe you will not write a very dense essay discussing the safety of consumer goods in 30 minutes if you don't know a lot about this topic, but you should be able to attack this intelligently enough that you can at least get a 4 or a 4.5 out of the scoring of 0 to 6, right? From this. So should we address both views or pick one that is close to us at the end? You should pick a position. As I think I said here, pick a side and don't waffle because you have 30 minutes. So again, it's an exercise in thinking critically. Pick a side, know what you're going to say. And then once you pick a side, your first paragraph is going to do what? Let's take a look at the typical response to this topic. So the first paragraph is going to say some typical sentences that you can memorize. This is how you can prepare in advance by memorizing certain sentences that you can use for any opening, and then you just plug in the specific phrases. So first paragraph, lay out your position. This person says, "Oh, Koremia, will you help me read so I can drink some coffee or tea?"
Okay, let me read it.
Thank you.
The extent to which government should oversee the production of goods by the private sector is a complex issue, involving a tug of war between the interests of public safety and free enterprise. On balance, however, I tend to agree that consumer safety is best left to the private sector. Given the dubious effectiveness of government regulation and the proven tendency of our corporate culture to set its own safety standards, irrespective of those set by government. Do you want to read all or just it?
Just that for a second. Thank you so much. It's really nice.
Okay, welcome.
Yeah. So you can memorize this if you need to. Phrases, right? The first thing she did was repeated the topic. So if the topic were different, something like there should be more emphasis on STEM subjects given the evolution of the employment market towards STEM professions or something like that, then you would say the extent to which universities should emphasize STEM topics over humanities or social sciences is a complex issue, right? You can memorize at least that phrase. Or if you're given a different topic, you can say the extent to which the Indonesian government should expand its global healthcare program to cover the needs of people in poor provincial areas is a complex issue, correct? So the extent of which blah, 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 and it's a complex issue is good if you need to. I mean, you don't have to be so programmatic about it, but it helps to be super rigid and schematic when you don't have a lot of time and if you are not writing, right, as a profession in your daily life. And then she says her opinion, she states her opinion. However, she tends to agree, leave it to the private sector, don't let government regulate it. I cannot tell you what kind of topic will occur during your actual GRE, but I think a lot of topics would involve technology, maybe less so now. Vaccine, somebody said, could be like a topic that could occur as well. But there is this big topic that I see in so many GRE prompts, which Santika will later share a link that has the topics, GRE prompts in general. But one topic that we always see is this super American debate, right? And that super American debate, which is a key function of American politics, is between government intervention and the free market, right? Government intervention and the free market. So this is something that kind of organizes political positions in the United States landscape, right? So if you are pro-government intervention, it means that you are more or less on the left or liberal side, right? And if you're pro-free market, it means that you're more or less on the right or conservative because you believe that big business should have absolute freedom to decide and the government should not, tax big business that much, blah, blah, blah. Maybe read a lot about this issue because various essay topics can come up that is around this issue. Because let's say this one, right? What the government should focus on solving. Oh, sorry. This one, government regulation is needed to ensure the safety of consumer goods. This goes back to that issue, right? Free market, independence of corporations versus independence of enterprises versus government standardization, regulations, etc. So I see this topic in many forms. It could be something like some people believe that government regulation is needed to check the profit margin of big corporations, while others believe that businesses are free to control their annual margin according to their needs. So I don't know, or it could be like some people believe that government regulation is needed to make sure that zoning laws do not privilege the rich in areas of urban cities, while some believe that cities will naturally grow and expand in a way that makes sense according to neighborhood patterns or whatever. But this is a big topic, so maybe read more about this will help you answer and stake your position. In this case, this person is a very typical, it doesn't need to be a real opinion, by the way. Of course, it can be whatever is easier to write in 30 minutes. So this person is making a typical free market argument, right? That corporations can set, the producers of consumer goods can set their own safety standards. And then it's easy. One paragraph, 1 point. Nasi goreng kambing di kebon siri. Okay? One paragraph, 1 point. So you will have the first body paragraph with a topic statement, and then you repeat yourself and expand that topic statement. Second body paragraph with a topic statement, expand that topic statement. So in this case, maybe we can ask Karimia because she's, you're very clear, so it helps. Can we read maybe just like the second compelling argument paragraph? Yeah.
Okay, sure, Christine.
Thank you.
Okay, one compelling argument against such regulations is that they are costly to administer and enforce and can even be counterproductive. Government regulatory agencies tend to be unwieldy bureaucracy. Thus, administrative delays can frustrate the purpose of regulations, particularly those designed to curb activities that pose an immediate threat to the public safety or health. Moreover, the cost of administering and enforcing government regulations are passed on to the same taxpayer citizens, whom the regulations are designed to protect, thereby countervailing their value.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Corey. Your name is Corey, right? Like
yes.
Okay.
Correct, Christine.
Yeah, cool. My name is actually Chris, just like yours is actually Corey. Anyway, so we see that there are 3 sentences here, more or less correct. So the first one states her position, which is that government regulations for the safety of consumer goods can be difficult to enforce and counterproductive, correct? And then what happens in her second sentence? She expanded upon it. The best nasi goreng kambing is there. It's because the portion is quite big. And in this case, she expanded by saying, well, because government agencies can be very unwieldy because there are many administrative red tape and processes, and it can be very difficult to implement just like a single regulation because there are so many levels, layers that you have to go through. And then she wants to add one more point. The nasi goreng is great because it doesn't smell the meat. Moreover, people are going to have to pay if the government is going to add a new initiative to control the safety of consumer goods. Who's going to pay for that? The taxpayers, correct? So in my opinion, this is not a great body paragraph, but it's overall a great essay. The reason, it's not a great body paragraph is because, Thank you so much, Corey. I appreciate your help. Bye. The reason that it's not a great body paragraph is because I think it's a tiny bit not so focused. A better paragraph here would have just talked about the fact that it's costly for governments to enforce regulations, or it's complex and inefficient and a very long process for governments to implement new regulations, either one of those, and then say, like, if you even have examples or case studies, it would be awesome. 1973, the state government of Kansas famously tried to implement a law to do that, but as we see, it took them 12 years and it was never passed due to blah blah blah. No, you don't have to. You don't need such specific examples. Forget it. But I'm just saying, the golden rule is one paragraph, one topic. So anyway, she does this for 3 body paragraphs, and then let's have Putri read the last 2 paragraphs to see what happens there, or just like the second page. So we are just skipping 1 paragraph. Putri, what is her last name? Sukma, Putri Sukma. And Putri actually thinks that she knows Corey. So please talk about that later. Hi Putri, can we have her unmuted? Thank you so much, Santika.
Hai, halo.
Halo Putri, apa kabar?
Alhamdulillah baik. Oke, langsung dibaca aja, Kak.
Yeah, thank you.
However, this argument overlooks the offsetting economics and social benefits of free enterprise.
Maaf. Tolong mulai dari, let's start with the first before, yeah.
Okay. From one compelling argument.
From those who disagree with my view might argue that.
Okay. Those who disagree with my view might argue that left unfettered by regulation, private enterprises will naturally sacrifice product safety for profit, because the profit motive is what drives them. Thus, absent product safety regulations, the argument goes, consumers would find themselves in constant peril of injury, illness, and even death. However, this argument overlooks the offsetting economic and social benefits of free enterprise. By maximizing profits, business provide jobs, stimulate the economy, and facilitate innovation and progress. The argument also ignores the fact that many corporations today actually go further than regulation required in ensuring that their products are safe. Many car manufacturers, for instance, design their automobiles to exceed government safety guidelines. Admittedly, such safety measures are probably born not of social conscience, but of self-interest. After all, consumer-friendly products attract consumers and thus can enhance long-term profits. Regardless of the motive, however, the empirical evidence is that businesses produce safe goods, whether or not they are subject to government regulation.
Thank you so much, Putri. I think we can stop there. Thanks a lot for helping me to read. Can you stay on for a second? What do you think about this paragraph? Is it good? I think I actually quite like it. Is it?
I think it's not very good because the company is put aside, consumer safety.
Oh yeah, I mean the point itself is not good, but the paragraph is good, right?
Oh yes.
Because it's especially that sentence I really like that says, regardless of the motive, empirical evidence say that businesses do try to produce safe goods because it could keep their customers loyal, it can increase their long-term margins. So it's a very subtle point of view that the writer is introducing, which is the writer is not saying big businesses are good people, therefore they will ensure that their consumer goods are safe, right? They're not saying that. This writer is instead saying there are reasons that a business and producer of goods might try to ensure very high safety standards. whether it's for profit or out of the goodness of their heart, doesn't matter. The fact is that they do. So it's a very well modulated perspective. If we're gonna look here, we're gonna look at this, the entire structure here. We have one opening paragraph, right, Putri, and then the opening paragraph says the position. I agree or disagree, but you write it in the way, the extent to which blah 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 is complex. On balance, however, I tend to agree, blah blah blah. And then you have the first thing that you want to say about it, the first topic statement in the body paragraph, second topic statement in the body paragraph. And then what happens there is a kind of movement. You say, oh, some people might disagree and say X. However, X undermines blah, blah, blah. In conclusion, I still stick to my position that blah is good, okay? So it's quite simple. Thanks a lot, Putri. Now we're going to do a classroom exercise in 1 second, but this is more or less the structure of everyone's every issue essay response. Sorry, it has this structure, right? More or less. So I give you a checklist of some things that we could think about when we're writing a body paragraph. Like, is there a topic statement at the beginning of the paragraph? Do you have textual evidence that's introduced into the paragraph? Especially for the argument essay, which we will get to next, you have to stick very, very close to the language that you see in the actual passage. So one way of working with textual evidence is just quote the direct language that's used in the prompt. Like in the previous topic, in the previous issue topic essay that we saw, the phrase that was used was government regulation, safety of consumer goods, and voluntary efforts of producers. And you'll see that the response really uses that language a lot, like government regulation, talks about the safety of consumer goods, and they really do try to stick close to that language. So this is very important. Sorry, yeah, here. So yeah, I think you were talking about this, Quincy. Pick a side, go for it. If you can, choose a few real world examples, but you're not being tested on your general knowledge. So if you don't have real world examples, do your best working with just the prompt alone and understanding the prompt as much as you can. One paragraph, 1 point, refute the opposing view a little bit, and then write a few practice essays, right? So where am I? Oh yeah, body paragraph checklist. So if there is evidence that you're taking up, like in the argument essay, it's best if you can analyze anything that you quote from the passage, and then always be extremely focused. Your paragraph should not discuss like government regulations are difficult to implement, government regulations can be corrupt, government regulations can be expensive. 3 points should not be fit into one paragraph. It's always better if you can just talk about one thing in one paragraph. Like, for instance, I think it was Adinda, should not have said nasi goreng kambing is her favorite food, and then say, but she also really likes ice cream, and it depends if she's in Jakarta or Bandung. If she's going to talk about nasi goreng kambing, it should just be about that for a second. Okay? And then for the issue essay, it's very important to connect the ideas logically as well, which is the third bullet point. So writing like a quick note, if you can, to yourself, like position, I am pro-government regulation, body paragraph 1. Businesses are increasingly competitive, especially about profit. They will try to not be safe as long as they can make money out of their consumer goods. And then body paragraph 2, I want to talk about how also there are more and more competing brands and businesses now. So a lot of the times people are outsourcing production to other countries. So some government regulation standards can ensure equal quality, blah, blah, blah. And then as long as you have bullet points, then you write it, etc. I think these are quite basic, and we will share these slides, but maybe Santika has to give me a few days to go and look for the right answer, because right now I think those are the right answers, but we have to go and search for different resources and the right answers, Santika. And then maybe by middle of next week, I will get back to you guys if you give Santika your email and give you the slides with the answers. Now, we have 20 minutes and I want to, oh yeah, Santika can also share this link in the meantime for resources about the analytical writing section. This one is a good one because it has a lot of topics. So, issue essay and argument essay. The argument essay is so easy, especially after all the exercises we did with RC, reading comprehension and everything else, so you will not have a problem. The argument essay basically works like this, right? They give you a passage. The passage has assumptions and logical fallacies in it, and then you write a response. Look at this paragraph. You write a response in which you examine, that's a keyword, you're examining. Meaning, if you compare the issue essay to the argument essay is calling for a way deeper analysis of the passage you're given, while the issue essay, it gives you a little bit of room to stay pretty general. Because in the issue essay, you are just asked to formulate an argument on a topic clearly, persuasively, while taking the opposing views into account. In the argument essay, you're basically tested on your close reading skills. So you want to examine the stated and unstated assumptions of the argument and then explain how the argument depends on the assumptions and what the implications are if the assumptions prove unwarranted. Okay. Okay. So in any case, so it's always the structure. You have a short passage. It has a lot of flaws and loopholes. Your position is like you are a trial lawyer in court, and then there is the witness saying, I really don't remember anything that happened that night. I was drunk and I don't even remember what time it was. I was just coming back from Hollywood Boulevard. And then as a trial lawyer, you'd be like, you said you don't remember anything, but you remember you just came back from Hollywood Boulevard. That more or less is the operating procedure that you want here. So, checklist for the argument essay is basically a disagreeing with the argument. So there is a passage. Know that you're positioning yourself always to call into question their assumptions, call into question their logical fallacies, outline the essay. Again, just think, okay, 3 things are wrong here. I'm going to spend 1 paragraph pointing out 1 wrong or unexamined assumption, and that's it. That's the argument essay. So we're going to do this right now in the session itself. It's a little unfair for you, so I'm only going to ask you to write 1 body paragraph in response to this instead of 3, since we are a little out of time. But first, maybe can we get Tien to read? Is that okay, Santika, since he volunteers and is ready just to read the passage? Who wants to go? Okay. He's ready. We can have Tien read and while Tien is reading, all of you should be jotting down the assumptions, the unstated assumptions of the argument as he's reading. You should have about 2 to 4 unstated assumptions that you think are wrong in this passage while he's reading it, okay? Thank you, Tien.
Yes, I will start reading. Supercup Supercup recently moved its headquarters to Corporate View. The recent surge in the number of homeowners in the Corporate View proved that Corporate View is a superior place to live than Middlesbrough, the home of Supercup's current headquarters. Moreover, Middlesbrough is a predominantly urban area, and according to an employee survey, Supercup has determined that its workers prefer to live in an area that is not urban. Finally, Corporate View has lower taxes than Middlesbrough, making it not only a safer place to work but also a cheaper one. Therefore, Supercup clearly makes the best decision.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Tian, yeah, because I already read the stay online, stay there. Don't mute yourself yet, because I already read the prompt, which is that you examine. Okay, you don't just identify. There is a difference between identifying and examining. If you identify, you just say that one. But here, you're not just asked to say that one. You are saying like examine it, right? Which is tear it apart. So you are given a very short passage like this. When you're reading it firsthand, you should already know 4 things, 3 things, 2 to 4 things wrong with it. So Tian, before you go offline, I'm going to ask you to call out one unstated assumption in the argument. Which is it?
One unstated statement. To me, that I think of the one that catch my attention is lower taxes. I think
it's not just lower taxes. It means lower taxes means that it's a cheaper place to live, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I think from the way I say lower taxes also means that it's less convenient than the prior place. So I think that supercut is so Prism supercut is something that so I think that not being is lower taxes. It also means that we don't we don't have the convenience. So that's not the maybe when we need some basis, we don't have something that is available there, and then perhaps it might yes.
Thank you so much, Tian. Thank you. I'm gonna mute you now so that everyone can also give me another point. Thanks so much, always. So Tian is saying that here they say that it is a better place to live because it has lower taxes. But lower taxes could mean that it's an inconvenient place, and also an inconvenient place could actually mean everything is further away from each other. So even though your pajak is lower, it could actually be a more expensive place to live in other ways, like facilities could be far away from each other. The price of fuel could be higher, whatever it is, despite the lower taxes. So a quick thing that I want to say is that you have to be very clear about your one sentence to recap the argument. You start there. What is the argument that is being made in this passage, right? And let's look at an example of a typical response. The typical response has this typical opening passage that says, the argument makes a number of unwarranted assumptions regarding what? Regarding what? You have to know what is being discussed or you cannot proceed. So in this case, I would have said the argument makes a number of unwarranted assumptions regarding Corporateville being a better place for Supercore's headquarters. That's what I would say is the argument. The passage, and always refer to it not as anything other than the passage, okay? So the shorthand is the passage. You should say the passage argues, the passage notes, the passage assumes, the passage implies, the passage emphasizes, whatever it is, so it's the passage. So the main point here is that the passage argues that Corporateville is a much better place for Supercore's headquarters than Middlesbrough. Okay, so you need that one sentence first. You need to know what the passage is arguing, otherwise you can proceed. Then Tian already said that one problem is the lower taxes argument because, and I kind of expanded Tian's point a bit. So I'm saying just because it's lower taxes doesn't mean it's cheaper. Here they say it has lower taxes, so it's safer and also cheaper. But actually, a lot of places with lower taxes are actually way more expensive. Like Jakarta is a great place. Like it can be very cheap. It does have pretty low taxes compared to if you live in some other countries, but it's actually expensive for certain things. So lower taxes doesn't mean anything. Can we have another volunteer, Adrian Sapratama? Give me another unstated assumption in this passage. Adrian Sapratama.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. As I have read about the argument essay, in the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the line 5, there is a statement that it's not only a safer place to work but also a cheaper one. But in the previous sentences, I didn't see there is any statement about a safer place.
Right, very good. So you could say something like, moreover, the passage argues that Corporateville is safer as it has lower taxes. Lower taxes might make it a cheaper place, but it does not have any correlation with being safer, correct? Very good, Grensa. What about another point? Can you think of another point?
I think this is like my own perspective that when the companies is moving on to to a city or area, there is the lower taxes is no longer implemented. It will be raised the number of tax percentage. Yeah, it's just my assumption. Yeah.
Oh, Adrian, you just pointed out a very important and crucial thing. So with everything with the GRE, except the issue essay more or less, and that's more or less, not absolutely, you cannot bring in outside knowledge because they give you enough in the passage or in the passage or in the whatever you call it in the prompt that you don't need your external knowledge. You can tear it apart based on this alone. Do you know what I mean, Adrian? Like, I'll give you a simple example before Quincy. A simple example is it says the recent search in the number of homeowners in Corporateville proved that it's a superior place to live, but we don't know that, right? We could say that there are any number of reasons why there could be a recent search, like maybe there is a zoning change that expanded Corporateville. So it seems like there's a lot of homeowners, but it's just the city limits just expanded, or maybe it's because in the next city there is a closure of a factory that was giving a lot of people jobs, so everybody moved to Corporateville. If I can say things like that, I have to couch it in hypothetical language. So instead of saying like, I happen to know that Corporateville is not a superior place to live because I live in the town next to Corporateville, in reality, I cannot say that, but I can attack their assumptions just based on the words in the passage and nothing else. Do you know what I mean, Adrian? Yeah, as in like, you notice that when a corporation moves to a new city, they don't necessarily have lower taxes, right? But you could easily find other evidence in the passage without external knowledge that you can tear apart. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much, Adrian. I appreciate it. I think Quincy is next. Like, what's another problem or unstated assumption in the passage? Okay. Maybe we can have 21.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi.
Hello.
So I think one of the points that I noticed was I wanted to talk a little bit about the survey they conducted when they said that they've determined that its workers prefer to live in an area that is not urban. I think one piece of my essay would be asking why. Oh, sorry, I can start my video. Sorry, I'm on my phone. I would want to ask, like, why is, how do they determine it? What other questions were asked? How can they, like, how did they come to that conclusion? Because there could be other questions on the survey that might lead somebody to want to end up saying, oh, I don't want to live somewhere urban because maybe, do they have a family or not? Do they need a larger house because they have like 4 kids? Is commute time an issue for them? I think for me, I would want to ask more about why specifically, or how did they come to that conclusion, and what other information does the corporation have about its workers, about where they prefer to live.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Quincy. I think that's always the thing, right? Whenever you hear the word survey, it's always like a disco lights again, like, attack the assumptions. Like, there's nothing said about the parameters of the survey, correct? In fact, if we have you stay on for just one more second, I'm sure that the response had has taken on the point of the survey. Maybe not. Let me see. Oh no, the response doesn't say anything about the survey, but good point, Quincy. Thank you so much. Maybe I can also now pause for a second, and before we have the next volunteer, it's now 12:51 and we do have a hard stop. So you have 5 minutes to write a body paragraph that sounds something like, what, 4 minutes? I have 4 minutes, Santika? Oh, if I have 4 minutes, then I cannot ask anyone to write. Okay, that's fine. So sorry, Santika is talking to me in private chat. I'm replying to her in private chat. Okay, 5 minutes. Let's look at this body paragraph as an example of a response that's quite decent. So another unstated assumption the argument makes is that what is superior for residents is the same as what is superior for corporations. Thus, even if everybody wants to move to Corporateville because it's a superior place to live, that doesn't mean it is a superior place for a company to move its headquarters. That's good. That's subtle. So this person is responding to the fact that the passage keeps saying that people want to move to Corporateville, and she is saying that just because the people want to move to Corporateville, it means that it's a great place to live, but it doesn't mean it's a great place for a headquarter. That's quite good, right, people? Everyone, that's quite a good response. It's quite subtle, but it's still tied to the text, to the passage. For instance, perhaps Corporateville has an excellent public school system or natural parks. Neither of this would make it a superior place for a corporation, but it would make it a superior place to live, unless the argument can show that there is a clear reason that Corporateville is superior to Middletown for a corporation, then the corporation could be making the wrong decision. Let's look at some key phrases that you can use to structure this paragraph. First of all, you need 1 point. This person has 1 point. They're focusing only on that 1 point. Therefore, it's a good paragraph. This person is only saying that just because a place is superior to live in doesn't mean it's great as a corporate headquartter. That's her or his point, right? The rest of the passage breaks that down of the paragraph. Thus, if somebody wants to move there for XYZ reasons, doesn't mean it's good for the company. Expand it some more and then re-emphasize the point, which is what the person does. Unless the argument can show XYZ, comma, I find its premise to be unfounded. So look at a few of these argument essay responses, high-scoring argument essay responses. Try to note the turns of phrases that is used to control a paragraph so that the person can build a whole paragraph out of having 1 point. All you need to write an essay is this, like, take a position. I'm just going to type in the chat. Take a position, right? No. All you need to write an essay is understand the text or the prompt. Understand the passage or the prompt, and then take a position, and then have 2 to 3 bullet points in mind for each paragraph. Focus on expanding those bullet points, 1 per paragraph. Round up, right? This is basically like what writing is. It's actually extremely schematic. It's not like fuzzy. It's not subjective. There is such a thing as good writing. It's not subjective. A good writing is focused. It's extreme, especially in an argument essay. The good argument essay response is extremely close to the text. It's responding to the text. So I think this is very easy to study for, and you will all do great. I will, of course, share this, and then you can take a look at it again because it's 12:55. So maybe as a closing comment, if I can have 1 more second, can I ask maybe Seol, Indra, Syafril, Seol to maybe give me one last unstated assumption that is weak about in this passage. Seol, Indra, Syafril.
Hi, yeah.
Yeah. Hello. How are you?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as well. So sorry, I'm on the wrong page here. Can you give me one more unstated assumption?
Okay, actually, I write it down on the comment sections a few seconds ago. So
Right.
actually, I so that we need to examine about the preference of worker to live in not urban area, whether they are looking for a better, a better environment for their lives, or they want to find a safer place, because a safer place is not always related to the not urban. Urban. Sometimes urban area is more safe, but sometimes not. So we need to find the correlation between these two.
Right. We need to find a correlation between their not wanting to live in an urban area and their wanting to live in a suburban place. Is that correct, Shol?
Yeah.
Right, because you're saying that just because they don't want to live in an urban area doesn't mean that they want to live in Corporateville. Is that right?
Yep.
Because they could not want to live in an urban area for other reasons, right? That doesn't mean Corporateville is the correct one. Okay, thank you so much, Sil. I think you did something great there. You really zoomed in on a particular phrase, which is urban area. And in your response, you repeated that phrase, right? And I'm just saying that, sticking to one of the previous points, use the language you're given in the passage, okay? In forming your responses. I think we are out of time and Santika needs the floor for the next event. So I hope this helps a little bit. Sorry, they were just 3 short sessions, but we will send our resources to you over email. And of course, I think if you have any other questions or something, Santika can relay them to me in some ways, or I think do very difficult GRE exercises, they help. And I think you only need to prep for about 6 weeks overall, which is a comfortable amount of time.
Yeah.
I think now that we have looked in depth at this point, which is understanding the expectations of academic writing and reading and performing the task of close reading, all these skills should help you. And for the writing section, I think the one thing I would say is the main point here is paragraph organization and reading closely enough the passage in the argument part that you know how to respond to it. If you don't know how to read closely, you will have no bullet points, right? That you can form in your head as a response to the passage. So thank you, everyone, and
Christine.
I will pass it to the America team. Yes, exactly.
Hi,
It doesn't
Christine.
matter. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our 3rd session. And as you guys know, today is the last verbal section. So thank you so much, Christine, for all 3 sessions that are very, very helpful for everyone who is, of course, have been joining us from the beginning. But if you guys miss any of the session, don't worry. You guys can go to YouTube and rewatch them as much as you want until you understand all of the materials, okay? And I know Christine have been mentioning, all of the, answers on the things that she have presented. So if Christine have it later after, even if this session have been done, we are done with verbal, and Christine can share the answer to me, I will try to upload it to the GRE event page on @america.or.id, where you guys usually have to register. Okay, so you guys can find that details. We will upload it there as a handout, so you just need to log into the website and download what you need to get from Christine. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending on your precious Saturdays, and we will also still have quant sections. So we will have 3 sessions for the quant as well, starting December. So it will be on the same day, same time, Saturdays, 11 a.m. Okay, I'll provide the link on the Zoom chat box. But if not, you can always go to @america.or.id to find the event page and register on your own. All right. Thank you so much, Christine. I think everyone here is so hyped. We can see in the chat box, everyone is thanking you. And again, Education USA is here. If you have any questions and your plan to study to the States, you need some help and guidance, I'm always here for all of you. And also, what is the last thing that I need to say here? Okay. Let me check. Okay, I'm ready with the link, and I will ask Christine if she will provide with the answer next time so I can upload it. All right, I think that's all from me. Thank you, everyone, and I will see you guys on December. So no, this series has not finished yet. We still have the quant, okay? So if you guys are aiming to attend for at least 4 out of 6 sessions, to get a chance to win the voucher, all of the terms and conditions are on the website as well. You need to attend more than all of this all of these verbal sections. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much. I'll give it back to Aninda.
Thank you so much, Kak Christine and Kak Santika, for the insightful session. Earlier in this event, we asked our audience, the question was, true or false, GRE test scores are valid for 2 years following the date the test was taken? And the answer is false. Your scores are valid for 5 years following the date the test was taken. Shout out to Megan Tara Fauzal Halif from Zoom for answering correctly. Thank you to everyone who has participated to our question of the day. Don't forget to tune in next time and catch a chance to get a live shoutout from us. Now, you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea with a place like this? Very easy. You can visit our website at www.atamerica.org.id, select Create a Program, and go to Collaborate with us. All the event's proposals will be reviewed and your event might be featured here soon. While you're on our website, you can subscribe to our newsletter to get our weekly event updates. Well, that wraps this episode. It's been fun. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. You can follow us. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AT America. You can get fun content and so much more. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. Again, my name is Aninda, and see you next time. Bye-bye.